Alrighty, 2023 training recap. I don't think I did this last year, which I hadn't been squatting that long, maybe like 2 or 3 months. But anyways, I've just got finished watching a Von Durek's recap. It was a pretty good video, and then I was like, I need to kind of sit down and make a list for my year. I want to say off the top of my head that this year has been terrible, but that's mainly because the last half of this year has really went downhill since the beginning of this year. So I had a very, very good training phase. Kind of started at the very end of last year and worked up to maybe April of this year. I remember I started taking 315 for triples on back squat right around like Christmas last year, and I was very, very happy with that. And then a few months later, I was hitting 315 for a set of 8, 315 for 10. I hit a 370 pound back squat, I think sometime in April. I've hit a 285 pound front squat PR, and then a couple of weeks later, I believe, I hit a 300 pound front squat PR. Very, very, very good numbers for me. I've gotten back up to 365 since then for a single. I may have touched 365 a few times between that PR and then, but 370 was topped out. I attempted 375 and failed that, and then it seems after I hit 370, everything kind of fizzled out, and I just quit hitting the same numbers that I was. I'm not really sure what caused it. I know I had a mission trip in the middle of the summer. I was gone from the weights for a week. I had to do body weight squats for a little bit, and I kind of expected to PR coming back to that since I had a week off, and that was unsuccessful. No PR. But at the beginning of this year, I seemed to deadlift way more frequently. I kind of skimmed through my videos earlier today, and it seemed that I deadlifted quite a bit. There's a few videos where I pulled 365. My best deadlift is 400. I've only pulled that one time, and then I guess the best I've ever pulled since then is probably 375 or 385. On one of the videos, I tugged on 385 but didn't feel confident with it, so I decided to not finish out the rep. But I also seemed to do a large amount of volume at the beginning of this year. And I'd like to still put in those sets, but the thing is sometimes work gets in the way. Work can be very physically demanding for me. I'm an apprentice electrician, so I can spend a lot of times all day in an attic pulling wire where it's 120 degrees plus, just picking up a lot of heavy things. It's a very active job, climbing up and down ladders all day. But the large amount of volume I was doing, I seemed to be doing hard sets, heavy sets of 10. I'm a believer in heavyweight for high reps. I think Tom Platz was too. But I think that's where you're going to make a lot of your strength gains. I think triples really have their place for peaking, but in terms of generally increasing your strength, increase your 10 rep max. If you can get to where you can push heavy, fairly heavy weights for a lot of reps, that's just more work you're putting in. I remember I took 275 for a 4x6. I used to hit sets of 10s with 275 or 240, just very, very hard sets of 10. And I think that probably played a large amount into my strength and PRs, which the deadlifts may have as well, because it seems I sort of stopped deadlifting after that time too. I had to split this up. Something I had written down that I did not cover in the video is how good my mobility looked around that same time earlier this year when I was hitting all the PRs. That was also around the time I had gotten the tier lifters. But I was going back and looking at clips of me squatting in flats, and I was squatting very, very narrow. I'm not really sure what I was doing back then to be able to squat like that, but squatting that narrow anymore doesn't feel all that comfortable. I'll try to throw up a few clips. It may have just been very, very slow eccentrics. I believe that I probably did a lot of paused squats during that time frame. But there's one clip I'm thinking of is 315 with a good pause, and I mean my feet were probably that far apart in flats. But anyways, that's all I had to add on that, is that my mobility looked a lot better. I don't recall doing a lot of stretching at that time. It was, like I said, probably just the paused squats, and just I squatted narrow more frequently. I may try to start doing that more so this year too. I'm not entirely sure. All right then. But moving on, running. I ran roughly once per week this year. I'm not very, very happy with that. Since I started running this year, has probably been the lowest amount I've ever ran. I've only been running for maybe 3 years, but I skimmed through my running app, and it seems that I put in or tracked maybe 4 runs a month. So that's about 1 run a week, given there were obviously some that I didn't track. But either way, I feel like I should be running more. I do think I want to start running at least twice a week. Injuries. Recently, I've had a hip injury in my right hip. Not real sure what it was. I believe this happened sometime around September. Ended up taking a full 2 weeks off of barbell squats and had to do body weight squats to keep the streak going. Things that really helped out with that was banded hip distractions, Bulgarian split squats. Hip flexor work seemed to help a little bit in the beginning, but soon after it kind of fizzled out. And the ATG split squat, that seemed to help out some. But I think the 2 biggest things that helped me were banded hip distractions and Bulgarian split squats. Those seemed to play the biggest part in recovering, and I try to do banded hip distractions before every workout. Let's see, back pain. Now this is an interesting one. I believe I had popped a disc in my back before I started squat every day. Took me 15 minutes to put a pair of socks and shoes on. It happened on a deadlift, which I know everybody says don't deadlift. I think if you deadlift with sense, you'll be fine. That's something you've really got to keep your form in check. Long story short, I used to go to my high school weight room and weight lift. Anyways, I had not been in that weight room in probably 2 to 3 months, and then I finally got back in there, and it was on a deadlift day, and I was like, you know what, I'm gonna push some weight today. It's just kind of the ritual to go hard in that weight room. I made 365, but halfway through the rep, something popped in my back, and I immediately knew it was gonna be bad. And for probably 2 or 3 months after that, I was in a lot of pain. Had to take 2 weeks completely off from working out. Absolutely nothing. Like I said, it took me 15 minutes to lean over and put a pair of socks and shoes on. It was excruciating, and I hope to never have to go through pain like that again. That was horrible. And then let's see, what have I got written down here? Anyways, something that helped me recover from that, maybe it can help you guys out. I had to go help a farmer pick pumpkins. This was a 2-week job maybe, but it consisted of going out in the field, bending over. This was after I could manage to lean over. I remember when I started, I was still very finicky with my back, but after I could manage leaning over, I went out there and helped him. We had to cut the pumpkins, pick them up, pack them over to his pickup truck, stack them all in there, and after we filled the bed up, we'd go up to his barn, unload them, or up to his house, unload them all, spray them and wash them off, and then load them back into his pickup, drive up to the barn, and then unload them again on pallets. And so I was putting in hundreds of reps on deadlifts with like anywhere from 2 to 30 pound pumpkins. I was doing this all day, or maybe after work one day. That's how I was spending my Saturdays. And I gotta say, after that, my back had felt the best it ever had since injuring my back. And then I started up squat every day around that time. The thought process behind that was the constant, blood flow, and like getting consistent blood flow just throughout the legs, the lower body, and the erectors would help my back recover. If you go back to the very beginning, when I started, there was a lot of days that squatting the bar produced some very, very extreme pain for me. I think all the way up until like day 100, back pain seemed to be kind of a reoccurring issue. Thankfully, for the most part, it's gone now. And I've hit bigger lifts since I've injured my back than previously, before the injury, except on deadlift. Let's see, back pain. So the things that have helped back pain is goblet and sumo squats. So I don't know what you'd want to call it, but usually I just take a 10 or 25 pound plate, and a good spot to do this. Just do squats like this, or deadlifts, whatever you want to call it. That's basically what I started out doing when I had injured my back and I was picking pumpkins. I was kind of scared to lean over, and so I tried to stay as vertical as possible. But as the pain lessened, I started coming in here and doing stuff like this, and allowing my back to round a little, and then just play around with that and do high reps like that. And then of course throw in some of these, and that was basically it. And I just kind of went through some different ranges of motion with that. And that has solved the back pain. Every now and then I do get some occasional flare-ups in the back. Nothing like it was before, but just enough for me to know that like, hey, I probably need to go light today. And whenever I have that happen, I just kind of throw in a few reps with that 10-pound plate, and I'm feeling good the next day. That's something I recommend you guys trying if any of you have back pain or previously injured your back and it flares up. Give those a shot. Rhomboid and trap pain on my right side. I have not solved this, and it kind of irritates me. I remember, now that I look back on it, I think this has been a problem for me for a long time. It just seemed to have gotten a lot worse here lately. I remember I guess this was probably around this time last year. We were wiring a big house, and every chance I got, I'd walk up to a stud and try to massage that area between my shoulder blade and my spine. So looking back, I'm sure that was the same thing that was bothering me now. But I basically can't front squat anymore. Obviously I was front squatting then. I just kind of paid for it over the next couple days with that pain back there. But that's probably one reason why front squats slowly fizzled out after the 300 pound PR, is because it just got too bad. The last few times I've tried to front squat, it's just like an insane shooting pain, just kind of down, like right through the rhomboid, I guess. There's a very, very sensitive spot right at the point of my scapula, like right here. Yeah, it's like the top of my scapula, and that is very, very tender compared to the left side. Yeah, anytime I try to front squat and just like externally rotate the arms and just drive the bar up, something happens, something starts burning. There was one time I was driving down the road and I thought I had a yellow jacket fly down my shirt and sting me on the back because it started burning so bad, and I reached back there and I was like, nope, just the rhomboid pain. I do think I may try to work that out this coming year. I may try to work that out. I would like to sort of get back to front squats. Anyways, spiritual highs. So me as myself, I am a Christian, and I gotta touch on this topic. I've had a few spiritual highs this year. One time was I had to give a devotion at a retirement home, and my youth leaders had kind of hit me with this out of the blue about a month in advance. And I took it up, and immediately when I said yes, I knew that I was not in a position to give that devotion when I said yes. So I spent a few weeks, diving into my Bible, studying and praying every single chance that I got. Every time I got behind the wheel, I spent that entire drive in prayer. And then life really seemed to lighten up around then. I gave that devotion, and it had way more impact than what I could have ever imagined. I had people reaching out to me that I hadn't talked to in years, and they were like, I watched your devotion, man. Thank you so much for giving that. It really touched me. All glory goes to God, of course, but it was a very touching moment for myself to see what kind of impact I can have when I allow God to work through me. I'll never forget, one time I was walking through the college parking lot going to class, and I'd already gotten out of the truck feeling good that day. This is probably about a week after I gave the devotion, and I was just walking with a sense of like joy and confidence, like I was just happy. And then this girl, she was a maintenance worker, and to be honest with you, I don't really know her name. It's just kind of as, hey, how you doing in the hallways? I think she was in one of my electrical classes when I first started going to the college. But like I said, don't really talk to her any more than 2 or 3 minutes once a week. It's always just kind of a, hey, how you doing? They ain't working you too hard, are they? But anyways, I was walking into class, and she drove up beside me, and she's like, hey, I just want you to let you know God's proud of you and keep doing what you're doing. And that made my entire week. I don't know, that was good. It's not like she was involved in my life. I don't even know if she really knew my name. But for her to drive up and tell her that I was, having an impact on her and to keep doing what I'm doing, it was a very, very heartwarming moment. And then over the summer, I had the mission trip. That was a very good trip for me as well. I gotta say, and then here recently, I had another little thing going on. We had revival at our church, and I gotta say that life improves when I am actively reading my Bible and trying to search for God. I believe the devotion was probably the highest point I had this year, spiritually speaking. But since then, there's been a couple of weeks here and there where I dive into my Bible and I really chase a relationship with Christ. And I gotta say, when I'm doing that, there is an utter sense of confidence that I walk through with my day. I carry like a love and a grace around me. It's very, very hard to describe. But I wish everybody could experience that. It is truly like life-changing. I don't know, I've never felt anything like that. Moving on, goals for next year. I have none. It's kind of odd. I know a lot of people, they get fired up for the new year and they're happy and they're eager for the New Year's. The way I try to live my life, I'm not going to work any harder if I set a goal for 405 or 435. It's not going to make a difference. I try to maximize every single day, and so setting a number out there is not really going to give me anything more to strive for than what I already do. Get another sip of water, try to put some thoughts together. I don't know if I had any goals last year, but I do know I wanted to hit a pig squat routine. Here is one version of it. This is all pound increments. I went through, and the guy that created the pig squat workout, I looked up his max squat, and then this is percentage based. So I took his max single, and then I took the pig squat single and figured out the math to figure out what percentage that was of his PR back squat. And then I did that for mine and basically worked all the percentages out. I think this was the percentage one. I can turn the page. I don't know. I've got two variations of the pig squat. This may be the more difficult one. I'm not sure. I'll throw up pictures of both. But one of them is percentage based, and I forgot how I staggered the other one. Anyways, I don't even know if I ever hit one of those workouts. I think I hit the easier one, but I was never in shape to go for the bigger workout. So I may try to hit the big one this year, or this coming year. And I'd like to get the trap pain worked out. But as I was saying, I try to get everything out of every day that I can anyways. So setting a goal doesn't give me much more to strive for. I just try to live every day to the fullest and get out what I can of that. I guess that's about it. The workout tonight is going to be pretty light. I was shutting my truck door yesterday, and the bottom of the door caught the edge of my knee, and I clipped the back of my knee. It's bruised, so the knee is feeling that a little bit. I think the family's wanting to get some movies tonight, but I don't think anybody in the house is feeling that good. Everybody's got a little bit of sickness going on, so if nobody wants to stay up till midnight, I plan to run through the New Year's. Probably put in like a 5-mile run if the feet and the knee will hold up for it, but we'll kind of see how it goes. I plan on waking up early in the morning to go deer hunting. Probably gonna wake up at 5, and honestly I may end up hitting the run at like 1 o'clock this morning anyways, just because it's the last day of the year, and I planned to run earlier today, just kind of slacked off, and that's not really how I want to finish the year. So I'm probably gonna run tonight, and if I feel like I have anything to add, I'll add it to the singular clip from today's workout. Anyways, guys, I hope you have a happy New Year's. Just live every day to the fullest. It's kind of a, what's the word I'm looking for? Maybe overused a little bit, but get you some good role models. The guys I follow most of the time, for not necessarily motivation, but for like a little bit of guidance, maybe. Cameron Haynes, David Goggins, Jocko Willink. That's the first 3 that come to mind. Then obviously get you some, Christian role models to follow. I've got a few at my church. Get you a good group of friends that will push you and will not let you slack off. That's basically it. Take what you have today and make the most of it. And that is it for tonight. I'll catch you guys tomorrow. Thank you for watching. Alright, if you've made it this far, I figured that I should say thank you for watching for one, but that I do not plan on quitting squat every day. Unless there comes a day where I don't want to do it. I think I want to hold myself to this practice of discipline as long as I can. Here's 275. I'm going to try to squat it narrow, but I am in Hey Dudes tonight. They do have a little bit of heel elevation in them. Here we go.